Final Word Daily, coming to you from Wellington. It's the second test, it's day one. It's been a remarkable day's play. We've had 15 wickets. I'm joined by Jeremy Coney, I'm Cameron Punsby, and I'm going to be doing the 30-second summary, starting in 3, 2, 1.
Clonk.
It's a 15-wicket day. Harry Brook, hey, he's very, very, very good at batting. He gets 123 out of England's 280. He saves them from 26 for 3. Him and Ollie Pope put on about 170. Then England lose their last 4 wickets in the space of about 14 balls. Bang, bang, bang. England all out. What have you done? Stupid. 280 all out. Then it looks like they're cruising to the end of play. New Zealand about 60 for 2. Hey, we're going to come back tomorrow for an even Stevens game. No, wrong. Brydon Carse, once again, he's having the most perfect start to his test career. It takes an amazing catch to get rid of Rachin Ravindra and then has a double strike at the end of the play. Kane Williamson and Daryl Mitchell gone. New Zealand finish 86 for 5. They're in loads of trouble. Jeremy Coney, I want to start with the part of the day which made my heart feel the most joy. And that's watching Harry Brook get 123. He is the most remarkable player. He now has an average away from home of 91.5. And he manages to hit sixes over extra cover, which is very exciting.
Yeah, well, England were 4 for 40 and in some trouble.
Indeed.
As they were in Christchurch. And then the same 2 people continued from where they left off in Christchurch in the first innings. And the ball was doing more here, though. It was a quicker pitch and was nibbling around a bit. Henry was bowling quite nicely and consistently. O'Rourke from the top end as well was getting some bounce and making it a little bit awkward for the 2 players. They were playing misses. However, in between those, suddenly Brook mainly, I'd have to say, he was the protagonist, and he attacked length that was a little bit short, shimmying outside leg, keeping the ball on the offside, with New Zealand setting a field, having mainly looking to attack with 3 slips in the gully and a sort of a wide third man, but the rest of it kind of open, and he would just hit the ball straight and clean. It's a long time since we appreciate the talent of someone like that, with the time and the timing and the placement and just the strength to just keep hitting it. It's just extraordinary talent. So really well played. Not much the bowlers could do about it, really, other than change their length. I thought they took the stumps out of play a little bit too much.
I think Brook manages to make the game look both as difficult as it is, and by performing things like shimming out the way, backing away, then hitting the ball over extra cover, 4-6 into the roundabout. So you go, wow, I cannot do that. I cannot appreciate just how skilled this person is. But then for the rest of the time, he stays so still at the crease that he does make it look easy, where I go, why can't I just stand still and access all parts of the ground and cut the ball and drive the ball? And
That's called talent. I'm
sorry
to say it.
You haven't seen me bat yet, Jeremy. You haven't seen me bat.
It's talent, boy.
I think I averaged 17 in this 2's Premier League in Surrey, so I think I could score 120.
Well, there you go. All right, well, that's great.
One of the reasons why his innings was all the more remarkable is because he came in with England in trouble. To get to 26 for 3, we have to go via a slight meander via the first over of the day, where we had we basically had the clash of the non-Titans. We had Zach Crawley, who has this kind of anomalous record against New Zealand, where from 17 innings he averages 9, and then we had Tim Southee, where he's bowling 125 kilometres per hour, and it was a bit of a kind of who's going to win out here? Could it be a cheap wicket for Tim Southee? Could it be some runs for Zach Crawley? As it happened, Zach Crawley became the first player ever in Test history to hit a 6 off a seamer from the opening over.
Was it? Indeed.
That's the first time it's ever happened, and he's only the second ever player to do it.
Duckett would be rather annoyed with that.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Pinching records off him.
Yeah, I know.
I'll finish the stat for you. Chris Gale, the only other player to ever do it, and he did it in the same match against one spinner. Tough day for him.
Okay.
It's fine. But then we had Crawley eventually clean bowled by Matt Henry. We had Ben Duckett kind of nick off. We had Joe Root edge behind as well to Nathan Smith. And it just seemed, of the Kiwi bowling attack, Matt Henry bowled beautifully well.
He did.
He didn't concede a run from his first 4 overs. Nathan Smith seems like an absolute kind of, joker in a good way cricketer, kind of exciting, kind of making things happen. And then in contrast, kind of the Tim Southee dynamic wasn't quite working. But let's focus on the positives. Matt Henry, Nathan Smith, brilliant.
Yeah, Henry particularly, he's become our most consistent bowler in the last few years, really. So long he's been sitting on the pine and keeping that warm. But here, as soon as he's got a chance now, he's really grabbed it nicely. And as far as New Zealand are concerned, he's got to be our number one pick every time in terms of the bowling order. Yeah, Southee, ineffective. He's also using the new ball. Here are 3 or 4 overs. It could be Nathan Smith. It could be O'Rourke. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with trying to have it's because you get different lengths from Henry, who's pitching up and nipping the ball around, to someone who's coming at you with different bounce. So you're asking, I think, different questions of the batsman in that sense. And I think O'Rourke is the future. You can't be bowling 125 and it's swinging from the arm. As soon as you see it go, you start to see it swing. It's not difficult to play that sort of bowling. And so there's a bit of an issue there for me about holding it. New Zealand probably have got 2 or 3 players at the moment who are not playing that well, and yet we keep selecting them. And there's no real, I know we don't have lots of players to really select from, but at some point it's not good for them either, that they need to go away and to work on things. Bring them back when they're a little bit better. It's just go away, let's sort this out, and then come back. But just to leave them, and there's no effect at all how well you do or how badly you do, you're always in the team. I think that's not a good thing, not a good message to send.
I did feel like, I remember after you spoke about whether New Zealand should leave out Tim Southee for this test, and you were like, probably, like, he's not having the best time of it. Speaking to other journalists or fans or kind of trying to get a feel, I felt like you were the anomaly there.
A bit harsh?
Well, I don't think you were harsh. No, I don't think you were harsh, but I was shocked at, you go through Southee's record and Off-Late's been really poor, but the idea of if there's been any clamour to drop him has been, aside from you, non-existent as far as I can tell.
Well, okay, if they want to argue against the facts, which is the strike rate of 107, an average of 62, he's got 13 wickets in the last 10 tests.
Yeah.
That's not playing a role in your side, really.
No, I completely agree with you. I think I was more interested by the fact that it feels like the New Zealand public don't mind. They're like, we're here to see Tim one more time. Like they're gonna roll through to the end of this
We've
series.
talked about sentimentality and that sort of thing. Yes, he has been a very fine player. I've got nothing against Tim Southee, the player, and the things that he's done for New Zealand. At the moment, he's not quite fulfilling the job and the role that he's expected to do in New Zealand. He's bowling less overs, he's getting less wickets for more runs, and it's taking longer. And that's putting pressure on it. Really, Duffy should be given a go. We are out of the Test Championship now because of the losing the points from the side. And now, why don't we use the rest of it now to introduce a new player? It's the future now.
It was, I did find it remarkable, and I very rarely think this, where there was a spell where Matt Henry came back on after lunch, and it was a case of like, New Zealand need a wicket now to break this Brook and partnership, because if they see through this one, then they get Southee for another 4 overs, and the ball's about 40 overs old, so it's going to be A-OK. But to be on a positive note, Nathan Smith, just kind of rock star cricketer, big moustache, mullet, dismisses Joe Root in the second over of the day. Here's a stat for you that I'm going to get wrong properly. Right. He's got 4-fer. His economy's
that's 7.5. Yeah, but that happens against this team. So there's very much this is the best of England and playing nicely. So I don't look at that and really worry about that 7. I'm interested more in the 4 for 85 or 86 that it was, and the athleticism. You don't really need a short cover, and you don't need someone at mid-wicket. And the run out that he got today, I thought, and it was Brook, wasn't it?
It was indeed.
He's on the off side of the wicket. He crosses the wicket. He goes past the mid-wicket sort of angle to the stumps, and it's in between the mid-wicket and also the square leg. One hand sees 2 stumps or 2 and a bit stumps, throws it down, and Brook is out, run out. And so, he's a sort of a very busy cricketer, and I like that about him.
And it completely changed the innings, because that was where Brook, England were about 260 for 6 at that point. Brook was cruising. He was looking so good. Runs himself out. Then the final wicket's full. But I want to tell you, I've been told a really nice anecdote about Nathan Smith, which I've since discovered is almost definitely not true. But I'm going to tell it to you anyway. So
turn away, everybody.
I'm going to walk you through it. So apparently, Nathan Smith was signed by Worcestershire, for the last season.
Correct.
He was this-
Opened the bowling
and
for them.
I don't think I'd quite appreciated how highly thought of Nathan Smith is, both around these parts and within the domestic game. So
Right.
there's a rumour, it's not been confirmed yet, but Nathan Smith signing for Surrey. I don't know if that's actually been confirmed yet. But apparently, the start of last season, Worcestershire played Yorkshire in a match.
Yep.
And Joe Root goes up to Nathan Smith at the end of the game, sort of pat on the back and goes, "See you in November, mate." He was so impressed. Told that anecdote to a friend. It's not that many degrees of separation where I've heard that story from. And my mate goes, what division was that match in? Worcestershire Division 1, Yorkshire Division 2. When would they when would they play
That's a
each
fair
other?
call.
And I went,
When did they meet?
I went through it, and there was one T20 where they played against each other, and Smith bowled 2 overs, none for 24. So, unless Joey was saying the piss, I don't really know.
Yeah, I know. Well, what a bad judge of character he is in quality.
There we go. What a lovely story that isn't true. Have that. Right.
But I mean, as far as the day is concerned, right?
Yeah.
England's solidly in charge, aren't they?
Oh, my goodness
As you
me.
said, the 2 for 60 odd, New Zealand was sort of hanging on, but to lose any more wickets than that, you'd have to say overall England were in charge. They not only lost 3 more wickets, or 4 more, was it? I can't
It's
remember.
5, they're 86 for 5.
It's a 3 more than the 2 they already had.
Yes, sorry.
So that's, I mean, New Zealand are in trouble now. They've obviously the Blundell or Smith or Phillips have to get really within about 50 or 60 runs of this England total of 280. So there's a lot of work to do to even stay in the match, I think.
Is the situation with New Zealand, their batting order, the same as kind of what we were talking about with the Southee situation, where it's kind of like the same story again, where
It is the
both
same.
Latham and Conway had failed at the top of the order, and a friend of mine messaged me and he said, England 280, is that about par? And I went, no, it's under par. And then I went and corrected myself, went, but 3 of New Zealand's top 7 haven't scored a run in 18 months. So they're fragile. It could turn out that England could finish today as on top of as they have ended up.
Yeah.
So was it kind of, from a Kiwi perspective, were you looking at it like, oh, this is a nervous passage of play? Or did you think it was a chance that New Zealand were going to finish today on top?
Oh, well, I suppose you're always hopeful. There's always hope, isn't there? But as it transpired, New Zealand have done the same thing again. I mean, if you left Christchurch, you would have said, number 1, start catching the ball. They did that today. They kind of did that better today, didn't they?
Absolutely.
Good catch to start the thing off. The first catch was probably the most important one to calm the nerves of everybody, and Latham got a 2-handed catch to his right. The good catch by Mitchell in the first slip then to take, I think it was Root, wasn't it?
One-handed.
Yeah. And then there was a catch in the gully, and then also, for heaven's sake, Blundell got a catch as well of Bethel. Just a slightly unlucky dismissal, I'd have to say, but took the catch down to diving to his right. So that was a good start for New Zealand to say, yeah, generally we can accept that. So the catching sort of one was sort of looked after a bit more today. But the second one was their top order batting.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid we've seen exactly what we saw in Christchurch. We've seen loose balance from Devon Conway, with the foot movements just not made to, he doesn't go far, they're frozen feet. And so the hands then take over and do the foot's job, if you like, the feet's job. The footers job, trotters, whatever you want to call them, and the hands going out in front is a way of compensating for the lack of foot movement. So he's still having that trouble with balance, and it was no surprise when he was dismissed today, really. No. Loose shot from Nathan hanging on an angled bat to bring the inside edge into play and back onto the stumps. Williamson once again going in about the 5th or 6th over. You can't keep putting your better players in at that time. They've got to start doing their jobs. So it was kind of similar, the whole thing. Then a reprieve for Williamson, you know, with the Carse getting bowled and then called back with a no ball. But then we're losing 2 wickets later. I thought Carse, by the way, I thought he was excellent again today. Excellent.
Oh, he's had
good pace.
He's had the silliest start to his Test career, because he showed promise in Pakistan. Now he's been perfect in New Zealand. He had the 10 for last week in Christchurch, and today you thought, is this the moment it's starting to kind of not unravel, but the first time something hasn't been perfect, because he clean bowled Kane Williamson with this beautiful delivery, and then he's overstepped. You thought, blimey, was this kind of England's chance to rip through the order? Then I can't remember who was bowling. It was Chris Wokes bowling to Ravindra, who I really want to score runs because I like watching him bat so much. And he gets a big inside edge onto his thigh. Ball balloons up.
Was that Wokes? I thought it might have been Stokes. But anyway, it might have been. Yeah, you might.
It
have
was a
been.
bowler whose name finished with the name
Oaks.
with Oaks.
Yeah.
That should be enough for you. Thank you, audience. And Carse, all 6'1" of him, comes charging in, full length
Brilliant
dive,
catch.
scoops the ball
Yeah.
off the turf, breaks through an end, and then I feel like we're potentially underplaying this. New Zealand, not many Test matches are won from 200 behind,
No.
5 wickets down in the first innings. So there we go, series to England. That's the conclusion.
We only need to do one of these in this whole
Perfect.
match.
We're all sorted. Well, we are going to take that moment to take a break. We'll be back in a second. We are doing a new ad break method.
Okay.
But I wasn't meant to bring attention to it, and now I've brought attention to it.
Okay.
It's fine. We're back. This show, Hall of Fame, brought to you by This Is Hypnobirthing. Any details in the show notes below. So we talked about hypnobirthing last time.
You did.
And I went, I'm not really across what that is. I got a text message from my mum. You're a hypno baby.
What?
Yeah. So little did I know. But
That explains a lot, doesn't it, folks?
because I'm a well-rounded, competent individual.
More
We're trying-
laid back.
Just chilled. I'm ready to go. It's fine. I've got my notebook.
Chooses his phrases, so you know,
So
thinks about them
eloquently.
for such a long time.
Think about I prepare. This is wonderful. Right, Hall of Fame. We are into it.
Stream of consciousness.
Do
man.
you have a Hall of Fame?
I was going to use Smith. But I used it too early, didn't I?
I've got about 7. Today was a very
Right.
Hall of Famey day.
Okay.
Should I
Come
just
on,
rattle
then.
through them?
Yeah, you go on.
My first Hall of I've genuinely about 7. I've had a
Crawley?
lovely.
Can't we do Crawley?
So Crawley hit a 6. I've genuinely had a lovely day today. To start with, the play got delayed because someone was walking behind the bowler's arm, and bless them, they had no idea what was going wrong, and they had walked into the stands, and then they had about 100 people start yelling at them.
Right.
They had no idea why, so there started being
Waving back.
a prolonged argument between these people while Zach Crawley was kind of there being, what's going on? The woman shouted something which I can't relay on this show because the context and the nuance would be lost.
Right.
But it's gone down into folklore within myself already. I'm very excited to reminisce about it for years to come. Maybe that'll be on like a Patreon show or something. The flags.
Edit that, everybody.
The
Not
flag-
helpful.
Yeah, what I'm saying to everyone is I had a nice time and you're not allowed to know why.
I know, thanks.
That's what this show's for. Also, the flags, very windy in Wellington. These poor children trying to hold some flags to keep whilst the songs are sung, basically getting blown over all the time. Noble from Brydon Carse, Carse catch, Brook drops back in front of Matt Henry as he runs in. There's about 5 to you. That should do you. You happy?
Yeah, very happy. Very
I'm
happy.
delighted.
Is that all you've got?
That's all I've got.
Right,
I thought maybe I had
fantastic.
some more, but it's fine. Hey, it's day 1. It's
We're
Wellington.
done.
England are well on top in the match,
They
in the
are.
series. I've been Cameron, Jeremy's been Jeremy, and we'll
Aye.
see you and speak to you again
Farewell.
tomorrow.